I'll do my best to do it in English only. Okay, to begin with, we have seen in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna ad- advising Arjuna. Okay, Shudram Hrudaya Daurbhalyam Tyaktvotishtva Parantapa. What he says is, you have to remove that fear, you have to remove that low self-esteem that you have. Okay, and then you have to enter into the battlefield. Why? Because Arjuna projected his low self-confidence, because he's seeing his own relatives. How many excuses he gives in throughout the Bhagavad Gita? He says he cannot fight with his own relatives, and he says they are all gurus, they are all veterans, experts in archery, everything. His own teacher is facing him. How do you think I will succeed? All these questions are posed by Arjuna to Krishna. Krishna
Chintu,
all
bah.
Krishna just advises Arjuna to just take his bow, put yourself into action, and then start. That's what he advises. And in Ramayana, we have seen Hanuman. Hanuman is can do anything and everything. There's nothing impossible for Hanuman. Only one weakness he had. He needed people to praise him and boost him and explain, put his successful stories in front of him before he took up such tasks. After that, there was no stop for Hanuman, but he needed that booster from people. Okay, so we have seen in the mythology, we have seen in epics, we have seen in the past, we are seeing present, and we will see in future. This self-confidence and self-esteem are two things which actually make a man or make a person, woman or man. Okay, so now let us get into the uh, details of what we mean by self-confidence. And the self-confidence doesn't come alone, it comes with another term called self-esteem also. We'll get into the details. Definition of self-confidence. Confide, it comes from the root confide. Confide is to trust or to have faith in one person so that you can entrust your secrets, basically. And the word confidentiality also comes from the same root confide. So whom do you trust here? Here in self confidence, we are trusting our own abilities. It could be cooking, it could be singing, it could be performing, it can be duties in the office. Qualities, whether I'm honest, whether I'm clean, whether I'm truthful, etc. And judgment, whether I can make proper decision at critical times. Is it okay? Is my decision correct? In all the activities we do, and in all the skill buildings that we go through right from childhood, and in all the responsibilities that we start taking in adult, there is always a doubting factor, and that is the reason why, and that is the trust that we need to build. Now, what is it? It is just an emotional state. Is self confidence is about something about our actual abilities, experience, and talent? No, it is not about our actual reality. It is only our emotional state, what we feel about ourselves. That is the reason why we should have both positive and realistic perception of ourselves and our abilities. So it is very important to have positive and realistic. And here I want to mention one thing. We have two states of mind. One is conscious state and another is subconscious state. Conscious state is something which is like a camera. It sees all things around us, and only when we are awake, it is working. Subconscious state is something behind which actually analyzes what the camera has fetched the data. So subconscious level works 24/7. Even when we are sleeping, the subconscious mind works. That is the reason why it's very important for us to make this conscious camera look only on positive aspects of life, positive things in the world which are happening around. because subconscious mind later on works only on these positive things, and we can grow and develop ourselves. Confidence comes not only from being right, but it is also from not fearing to be wrong. What does it mean? Suppose, let us say I was driving two-wheeler, and later on after a couple of years I shifted to driving car. Then after like let's say 10 years, then if I want to switch back to two-wheeler, I will start feeling whether is it possible for me to go back to two-wheeler? Can I do it? Because 10 years I've driven car, that is two-wheeler. Will I get the same balance? Will I be able to here? We need to analyze all these things. By the way, I like this session to be interactive. So if you can interrupt me and ask me question, that would be wonderful. You don't have to wait for me. Now, along with self-confidence, hello, anybody wants to ask? Along with self-confidence, there are two sides of the same coin. Self-esteem. Self-esteem is most important. What is self-esteem? It's about evaluating ourselves, amount of value that we consider we are worth. How many of us will actually feel full worth? It gets influenced by many things, right? We start comparing ourselves with people, and we'll start evaluating our own values. Okay, so how does this cycle go? I am stupid, I am no good is the usual thought process that happens. Okay, how with that conscious, I just spoke about conscious and subconscious mind, right? The moment conscious mind talks about I'm stupid and no good, the subconscious mind is going to work on that, and it's going to give the message saying I'm going to mess up again. And invariably what happens is with low confidence we start making mistake, if not time. We are in a group and we will not have confidence to voice our opinion. Even if there is something, we will not be able to point out what is and it happens in the loop, and finally we'll start behaving like a group. We'll start saying, okay, they are correct, I'm wrong. That is how we'll start looking at things, which is not very healthy, which is not going to add up to our development also. With low self-esteem, what are all the things that happen? We will neglect our own well-being. Then we will be full of anxiety, guilt, depression. All these will be going on in our mind, and we'll be critical about whatever we do. This is not correct. This is not the way I'm supposed to do things. I should have done it better. These are all the self-talks that we do. Then core beliefs, our belief system itself will start questioning. Is it right? Is it right that I did my whatever cooking today the way it is? It should have been a little more tastier. There is no end to that, right? Then avoid failure. I don't want to try this new skill. I don't want to try something like, let's say, presenting only. Many of us will be good at talking. Many of us will have lot of things to share, but I don't want to present. I don't want to share. What if I cannot do it properly? What if I cannot share it properly? People will start laughing at me. People will think I am a failure. All these thought process will just pull us down. And then discount successes. If at all there are successes that are happening, we will put it to luck. Today it was lucky day. I did my cooking very well. It came out very well. Why? It's actually your effort, your focus, everything that has gone into cooking that has made it good. Why don't you take the credit for that? And neglecting our own well-being. That's fine. I have a headache. That's okay, but I have to do so many things, right? Otherwise, what will they think about me? They'll think that I'm a sick person. I cannot do many things. These are all the thought process. By the way, one of you had shared the videos, right? About how a woman says she wants to go to bed, and then at the in the night, and she does all the chores in the kitchen and everything for next day morning also before she goes to bed, whereas her husband just sleeps in next 2 minutes. Whom do you blame? This is all, I agree completely. This is all what we do. We take entire responsibility, we'll do everything. But whom do you blame? Ultimately, when you think that you should rest, you should take rest. It can wait. Some of the things can wait. Some of them can be prioritized. No, we don't do that. We want to do everything. We want to become superwoman, right? That is not the intention. Intention is to balance things in life. Any questions so far? Am I, is the pace okay, or am I fast, slow? I need some feedback. Because this is online, I can't see your facial expression. It's difficult if you don't talk. Chat, I can't see.
Ma'am, we can hear you.
Ah,
You are normal, not too slow also, not too fast also. We can
okay.
understand what you are telling.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, let us look at something, some skill. Okay, let us take an example. I want to learn, let's say, crochet today or tailoring. Okay. Now, how do we reach the confidence, self-confidence level? We need to keep this. If you want, I can share this. This is very important. These steps that I have shown you. Okay. We have to map ourselves where we are, compare this with this chat, and then see how we can move ahead. I want to learn tailoring. First thought that comes to our mind is, I won't do it. I can't do tailoring. I won't do it. Okay. Everybody in the group will be talking about tailoring. I am there sitting alone. I cannot understand what anybody is talking, and I will accept the fact that I won't do it. Then after 5 minutes getting involved in the group discussion, I find that many people are sharing designs, and I like those patterns. Looking at those patterns, I start thinking, I can't do it. Okay, those patterns appear to be very nice to me, very interesting, but then I'll start saying, oh, these beautiful patterns, but I can't do it. That's how you will talk to ourselves. Next thing is, next 5 minutes discussion, somebody will be explaining what stitch has to be done and how it has to be done. The process is getting discussed in the group. Hey, maybe it is not so difficult. Why can't I try? I want to do it. That is the next thought process which we get. Then the interest comes in. How do I do it? How should I do it? How I should start learning it. I should start putting my effort. Next thing is, I will try to do it. Okay, tomorrow I'll make plans now to how to do it, because I know how to do it now, and I'll start doing it. Next thing is, I have stitched one bib, so now I can do it. That is the confidence level that I have achieved. Next step is, okay, now I have done a bib. I will start doing a chudidar stitching. I will do it. Then after doing chudidar, you are going to do it for your children. You are going to do it for your friends, and you'll start getting the expertise. Yes, I did it. So now we need to see where we are when we begin with any activity that requires self-confidence. Remember one thing, we can always feel a little damaged sometimes. We'll have ups and downs in life, right? But remember, a broken crayon can draw just as colorfully as a whole crayon. This has to stick to your mind, because we have to get back to normalcy and start doing things. What does lack of self-confidence mean? With lack of self-confidence, we will always be doubting ourselves. We'll start feeling inferior. We'll be very sensitive to critical remarks. Anybody talks about us, we'll feel very sensitive. And we will be submissive. At the same time, agree to whatever anybody says. Okay? No, we are not at all going to say no. We are going to accept, become a dump yard. And then we'll start feeling often sad because we are not being recognized, and then we'll start feeling depressed also. Too little self-confidence will lead to not taking enough risk. We have fear taking risks. We cannot, because we are scared of not being successful. Okay, too much of self-confidence will be taking too much risk, where we are not going to deliver in time or deliver to the expectation of our colleagues or committed members, stakeholders we call it. Now, how does this lack of self-confidence develop? The reason why I'm taking all these things is we need to understand wherever we don't have self-confidence, we need to understand the root cause. That's the reason. So when you have some feeling, emotions, you need, with respect to being sad or being, trodden by others, you should start feeling where to pick up strings. Okay. So now how does lack of self-confidence develop? Experience. We would have developed some kind of negative life experiences during childhood, home or job or anywhere. Okay, so based on that, I will not be able to do anything, will be the firm conviction which the subconscious mind would have taken from the conscious negative feeling. Okay, now or there could be a loss of a family member or close. You will be depending on somebody like a mother or somebody. In some cases, the mother would have died, leaving a huge gap for the adolescent, maybe, who was depending on the mother for certain assurance or certain hand holding. That also could lead to lack of self-confidence. I've seen many people who come to me for counseling who have been like not been able guided because they have lost their mothers at the young age, and that has left a lacuna, but they're not able to understand why. Okay, and then dwelling unnecessarily on negative events such as failures and disappointment instead of using this as a learning experience. How many of us keep complaining whenever we talk to friends? Oh, this didn't work well. Yesterday, the cooking didn't go well. Yesterday, I messed up in my bank accounts in the bank and I got shouted by my boss. I couldn't do this coding well as a programmer. I couldn't get the results, proper results. How many of us keep lamenting? Okay. But instead, if we just go about and analyze what went wrong or what could be the possibilities that one can look into, then it's better. We will get into the resilience, bouncing back state where we want to look at solutions and then start working towards it. This is very important because most of us will get into a comfort zone. What do you mean by comfort zone? We'll start complaining about the issues, the failures, the disappointments, and we'll live in it. We will not do anything to come out of it. Okay, Swami Vivekananda said, wake up, arise, awake, stop not till your goal is reached, right? We never pick up our strings and start moving ahead to proceed in the direction of solution. At this juncture, I remember Mullah Azruddin's note. He once a person had lost his golden ring at home. Okay, so the golden ring was lost at home, and the house was in darkness. There was no electricity. So he went out and started searching on the street light. So Mullah came to him and asked him, okay, what are you searching? Where are you searching? How kind of questions he asked. So the person said, I've lost a ring at home and I'm now looking at this ring in the street because the street light is there. Then Mullah says, you have lost the ring at home, not on the street. But why are you looking at the street? The person says, because light is there here, not at home. Isn't it what we do most of the time? Solutions exist with us. Creativity is there with us. Okay. We know how to, what to do, how to do once we start focusing on that. But we never do that. We always go on and on depending upon either on others or we will be searching somewhere else. Judging or criticizing ourselves and our abilities too harshly. I don't know what standards we set to ourselves. It will be so high that whatever we do at the end of the day, with so much of hard work, so much of focus, and to do things, still when it comes to results, we are not happy at all. We are unhappy about the results all the time because our standards are not at all realistic. Okay, so this is one more problem which most of the adolescents face. And our own the psychologists who mention about this problem is, he says there is real self and an ideal self. Real self is what we are basically. Ideal self is we would have put ourselves put a standard such a way that it is not at all reachable. Okay. And for any human being for that matter, and we will be comparing our real self with that ideal self. That's when there is no happiness, no motivation, and we'll start falling easily into depression state. This is very, very important for us to set proper standards. Then evaluating the outcomes of situations as much worse than they are really are. The cooking will be good, food will be good, what we have eaten, but still we will think that it is one of the worst dishes that we have ever cooked. Is it not edible at all? No way. Some salt will be less or some little salt will be more. That doesn't mean that it is totally non-edible, but we will put it to that category of non-edible. Experiencing too much pressure, unrealistic expectation standards from parents. This is something which happens from the childhood, where society, peer pressure, parents have their own expectation. We'll start this I call it as cookie cutting. We will mold ourselves into the expectation of others. When this happens, our abilities, skills, capabilities will not be put into use at all. We are not aware of ourselves, what we are capable, etc. We will start following some standards set by others. This also leads to low confidence. Then unrealistic goals and temptation of wanting to be good in every field. I am not a superwoman. Let us accept that nobody can become a superwoman and be proficient in all the fields. We are proficient in certain fields. Okay. And if we want to be proficient in couple of others, we can develop ourselves. But nowhere can we put proclamation that we are complete human being with proficiency in all fields. That is like setting up to the ideal goals and then leading to frustration. Last thing is fear of failure. What will happen if we fail? Failure is a step of learning. So what? We can just allow ourselves to fail, but only thing is make sure that we quickly bounce back with a different learning. So you know how you have failed, do it differently and do it again. So importance here is to come back quickly and then start all over again very quickly. Nothing will happen if there is a failure. That is something which needs to be etched in our mind right from the childhood with this slide. Okay, now why is self-confidence important? We talk so much about self-confidence. What is there if I am not confident? I am like what I am and then continue to be what I am because my life has, I've grown so old. So let me continue like this. Have you ever seen the opportunities that you have missed the opportunities that you can create for your own self-development. Each individual in this world is born with unique skills and unique personality with unique traits and characteristics. Have we ever exposed those to ourselves first and then to the outside world next? Have you ever done that? That is the purpose of life. We have to live to our full potential. How do we live to our full potential? We can only do it by learning new things, creating new opportunities, and improving self. Whether it could be reading or it could be through network or whatever, sharing through friends, anything possible. Okay. Next thing is it increases our own self-esteem to the new levels. The more you do new things, the more build on new things, the better personality you will become. Your own self-esteem grows high, your own self-confidence grows. Then there is a better version of ourselves. We can do well in our jobs, we can do well in our at home, we can do well in business, and we can do well with relationship is again a very complex area. This is also where we can do, the provided we have self-confidence, good self-confidence. First and foremost, this is a slide where we need to bring our awareness as to who am I. I have some 5 categories of self-confidence. We need to map ourselves into what category we belong to in each one of this and see how we can improve. Improvement techniques I'll talk at the end, but I want to see, expose all the things which are which with us, and then I able to identify ourselves so that we can use a proper strategy to improve our self-confidence. That's the reason why I'm bringing up all these topics. First and foremost, fully confident in all that you do. Is it possible? Is it realistic? I have a cousin. Okay, when during her childhood, she had not learned music properly, and she didn't have the focus also. But all she wanted to do was, she was fully confident that she could do anything and everything under the sun. So anybody called her or open invitation for singing, she would just go up the stage and start singing. All of us would have told her, Shruti is not proper. Your singing tone should be proper. Nothing, everything left to haywire. She would go on the stage and start singing. Okay, their awareness was not there. Her zeal and enthusiasm to do things was there, which was good, but it should have been done in a proper way, right? So that didn't happen. So that is very dangerous. Unnecessary risks will be taking, and we'll be committing ourselves to many things and get into sticky situations. That would be termed as kind of overconfidence with no bad intention. Okay, like that's the reason why I picked up my cousin's example. She didn't have bad intention. She didn't want to show off or anything. She had the zeal to go and just sing. That's all. Next is confident in some areas. This is realistic. We know there are certain areas that we are confident and we do very well, and there are certain areas where I need to improve, and that's where I need to focus. For example, I have taken 2 examples. One is singing, and I'm a computer programmer, let's say. As a computer programmer, I'm self-confident, but as a singer, I may not be self-confident. But then if you look at prioritizing, for a computer program, it is high priority because it's our business. It's earning you money. That's your focus area. Singing is your hobby. You can pick it up later. Once you are proficient in computer programming, when you have time, you can focus on singing. Okay. So you can build your confidence at stages, giving little time for singing. However, there is a second example where my profession is marketing and sales, and I'm afraid of traveling and talking to people. I feel very scared. I feel very anxious talking to people, but I've taken up this marketing and sales. I want to market my products. I'm an entrepreneur and I need to talk to people, but I'm scared. So now where do you position this? Obviously, you have to work on this fear of traveling and fear of talking. Get over that, and only then you will succeed in your marketing and sales. That will be the primary most important focus area for you to look at building your self-confidence before you get into business. Okay, so this is where you need to prioritize. Third category, I'm not confident about my abilities at all, and I don't want to wish to disclose. Masking. Basically, I don't know if I'm confident, but even if I am, I don't want to disclose. Why? Because I'm very scared. That third category, mostly examples are stage fears. People will have content. People would have talked to their friends. People who friends would have appreciated them, but they'll have this fear of going on the stage and talking, making a presentation or talking, because they become very nervous. Okay, and they don't even want to try, they don't want to disclose. Okay, and even if they've gone there, it has plus and minus. Suppose I go there with a fear, not much self confidence, and I don't want to show off also. It is kind of positive only. You don't have to show that you are not self confident. It's not required, because second time, third time onwards, you will gain that confidence. Okay, it has both negative and positive connotation. Fourth one, I am a confident person, but not to be reflecting so to others. Many people are there. ಇವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿನೀಸ್. ಓಕೆ, they are very confident, they are very proficient. Okay, they can do things very well, but they don't want to expose themselves at all. They don't want to get any acknowledgement or appreciation. Problem here is you will not get sufficient acknowledgement and appreciation that you are due for. In this category of people, there will be other people who will be taking advantage of this. You might have seen in offices and other places, there will be people silently doing work, and they're very confident about coming up with solutions. But there will be others who will be taking advantage, who will be gaining their names, putting their labels, their names for what these people have achieved. Why these people do not want to project themselves? Because they are fear of failure, or they think that it could be projected as boasting. Actually, it's no harm. In last session, Vaijayanti was mentioning, right, that it is required to expose. It is required to give yourself, whatever you're doing, a name. Show and tell is most important. You don't have to overdo it, but to some extent it is required. Show and tell is required, so that others won't take advantage of that. Last category is grossly overconfident person who takes unnecessary risks. Haven't we seen people around us? They just want to show off. There'll be better people in the group who can do better things, but they want to show off. They want to project themselves as hi-fi. They want to project themselves as experts. Most of the interviews, okay, I see such candidates, they're being wrongly advised. They have to be their own self when they come to interview, but they'll overly show that they are very confident, which leads them into trouble. You ask them any question which they don't know, they will not be able to answer. Okay, these are like unnecessary risks. Now, this exercise, this self-introspection exercises, I will just share it in the group. Okay, each one of you can answer this question. Since there's shortage of time, I can't do it here. And then if you have any questions, if you have any clarification, you can always send me messages. Now, there are 10 questions, and there are a couple of questions I picked up from Panjara. But there are many tools like this. There are many exercises. If you cannot do this, I can give you some more. Here, out of 10, if you get 5 and above correct, then you can declare yourself as self-confident. If you get something like less than 5 as no, for these questions, then you might have to work on your self-confidence. How to work on self-confidence, we'll see shortly, how to identify and things like that. Okay. I'll share it in the group later. Now, what is high self-confidence? What is low? Because there's a thin line. You should be careful. You cannot be, high self-confidence is good, but it should not be overconfidence. Do what you believe to be right, even if you're criticized. How? Only when you have analyzed that whatever you are doing, pros and cons you would have listed, okay, and then you are confident that these are the pros and cons for the action that I am doing, so I believe what I am doing, irrespective of what others say. Suppose you put a question in a group, there will be 101 responses, different ways of approaching the same thing. So now which one will you follow if you're not self-confident? That's the reason why you should have your own judgment. You should have your own data before you ask for opinion from others. Now, where people with low self-confidence, they will just leave their own data. They won't have analyzed. They're not sure of their own data. And whatever others talk about, they will start using that up. Now, others mean there will be more than one person. So every time they'll be following a different person, which will lead to a lot of confusion, which will lead them to nowhere. Okay. Next is high confident people will be willing to take risks because they know taking risks is new learning and challenging, and they accept the challenge because they feel motivated by that. Whereas low confident people want to stay in their comfort zone, which we saw in the earlier slide. High confident people admit mistakes and learn from them. There is no harm in admitting our mistakes because we can always say, I'm sorry, I have done this because of such and such a reason. Now I know how not to do what I have done earlier. I will correct from now onwards. Low confident people, for the fear of failure and fear of about what others feel about themselves, etc., they'll start justifying. They'll cover up all the mistakes, and which leads to a lot of untruth, which leads to no growth of the individuals and creates a lot of problems. High confident people know how to expose their virtues. Confidently, they are able to show their results from their actions. Whereas low confident people, even if they work, suppose I cook, I always want somebody in the house to appreciate and say, okay, it's good. Otherwise, I'll assume that it's bad. Okay. Confident people thinks I really worked on it. Low confident people will say, okay, that was nothing great. It just happened. Anybody could have done it. These are most of the women do this. The compliments are not accepted at all. They will it is not modesty. Definitely this is not modesty. Accepting compliments is also very important. Okay. Some more exercises. Another set of exercise which you can do wherever you are is like you make a list, skills, talents, responsibilities of your own where your confidence is very high. Okay. You can probably identify 5. Skills, talents, or responsibilities where your confidence level is low. Another 5. Okay. Now, if you have done the first one quickly, which there is an indicator that you're already confident. Suppose you have done the second one faster than the first one, then it calls for focus area on trying to develop the confidence level. Mark out on each of these, prioritize, and see how to work on each one of these low confident items. The third way of doing it, there are plenty of other ways we can discuss offline also, but I've just chosen some couple of them to make a start, to make a beginning. Select a role model. For every skill or every quality or for every achievement, we can have many role models. Okay. Select role models based on whom you think are great in skills, qualities, achievements. List down 5 most prominent traits that you admire of that person. Okay. Put that as 100%. Now rate yourself in those qualities. Give yourself percentage of your level. How to do it, we will discuss below. Now, this is some personality development where we need to focus on all the aspects. I'm just showing this. I'm not going into details of that. This is one of the, when we talk about why self-confidence is important, these are all the factors that we need to focus for us to become balanced individual in the society. Okay. Building confidence in self. How do we do that? First and foremost, list all the specific areas where you feel confidence is low and prioritize them. Okay. Next is do a deep introspection of each one of them. Pick one at a time. See why it is why you have this low self confidence in that. Were there any setbacks? Were there failures? Were there roadblocks earlier in your past which prevented you from becoming confident? What most of the time happens is because in my childhood I was not allowed to compete in a particular sport or particular task activity. I will think that I cannot proceed at all now. There is no age limit. If you want to have motivation, I mean if you have motivation, if you have the focus, you have the zeal to learn, you can keep the past aside and make a new beginning in almost anything. In fact, even for yoga or exercises, there are people who have picked up yoga at the age of 75 years. Okay. So there is nothing that we cannot do at a particular age because of the past. Let us keep that. Let us get out of the comfort zone and let's start working towards that. Now try to remember if any significant people ridiculed, criticized when you made those attempts. Most of the time, when it comes to bathroom singing, our siblings or our cousins would have made remarks, casual remarks. Nobody would have meant harm for the individuals, but they are all loose comments which would have happened, which we being sensitive would have taken them seriously. Okay. And not put enough effort at all to develop those specific skills. Like I took an example of my cousin. Yeah, I want to bring that cousin's example again because after 20 years, we kept on telling her that she has to sing according to Shruti, she has to sing properly with proper thala. Every time she comes out of the stage, we would tell her, why did you go? Why did you do this? You should have practiced this before you went on stage and all that. Now you know what she did. After 20 years, she went to a proper music teacher and now that she has that skill to learn, focus, where that time she was a child, basically. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah. She was a child. Maybe she didn't grasp things, what was required for singing. But now after 20 years, because people, she took it up as a challenge. She focused on all the new nuances of where she had to improve. And she's become such a good singer at this age. Okay. At this success, and even if it is half done, whatever reason, time pressure, or maybe the focus area got changed to something, we would have just left whatever we were doing which went smoothly. No, these are not something which we need to leave behind. We need to recollect and then count on these successes. Set a benchmark that is realistic. we were discussing, right? How to make it realistic. How to make, initially you may not know what is realistic goal. You may ask me what is realistic from my perspective. Nobody will know. One way of doing it is set a goal, achieve it. If you can achieve smoothly within time, set the goal higher, set the bar higher. Okay, that's what happens most of the time. Keep setting the bar higher. Don't settle at a bar which you have set initially. Second way is get feedback from people, trusted feedback from people, your parents, your siblings, your teachers, or your trusted friends, who can say, hey, maybe this goal is very low, you may want to set it higher also. Okay, you have more capability of doing more than what you have set. Okay, so make it a make a benchmark which is realistic. Then pick one of the simplest out of the list and then start developing the skill, attempting the task, taking up the activity. How do you do it? Either read books, talk to people, watch videos, see social media. There are plenty of ways where you can develop the skill. Go to a teacher, ask someone close to you to monitor. Okay, while we are at it, what happens is at some time sustenance becomes a problem. We will start off initially with enthusiasm. Today after the session, many of you will start developing the skill. Down the line, two weeks down the line, the level of motivation, energy will come down. That is most important, where sustenance is important for you to develop confidence and build the expertise. So you need someone close to you who can actually compliment you and say, okay, you're doing very well. Okay, keep talking yourself, reward compliments and reassure yourself and move to the right path. Most of the time this happens to me. Yoga I'll start off with full enthusiasm, and down the line after 6 months it will come down. For some reason I'd have taken 2 days leave, then to revive it back it will take a lot of time to get back to proper schedule. What I have done is my friends will remind me, so how is yoga going on, will be the first question, which will make me feel guilty, and I'll start doing it all over again. Okay, now every time you face a temporary failure, you will analyze why it happened and will attempt the same task in a different way. That is what is resilience. We'll talk about resilience more. I want to give an example of Thomas Alva Edison. Thomas Alva Edison discovered the bulb. Before he discovered the bulb, he made 1,000 attempts. The 1,000th attempt was the successful bulb. Many people had ridiculed him, okay, earlier, and said, you have wasted so much of energy, you have wasted so much of time, money, everything. What have you done? Nothing is getting in your way. He never bothered. At the end of the result, 1,000th attempt, when he was able to get the bulb, all he said was, I now have learned how not to do a bulb in 999 ways. That's what he said. That should be our spirit whenever we face a failure. Manage to develop one confidence in one activity. Okay, keep giving positive strokes to that activity and remind yourself to be successful. That actually, once you reach a level where you have achieved set a realistic goal, you can always move forward on the next item based on the success of this foundation. That is what is up. Don't do multitasking. Do one at a time. That is most important. Last and the most important is develop flexibility. Who can do this? Only people who are flexible to change, who want to change, who would want to move out of the comfort zone. Those are the people who can learn, who can develop self-confidence. If we do not allow ourselves to be flexible or adapt to change, there is nothing which we can do about any improvement that we want to do to our own personality or for our own development. Any questions? Have the confidence that you can build up your confidence. That is most important. Once you have the confidence that you will build up, it will happen. Remember on the subconscious and subconscious mind that I have spoken. Okay. So self-sabotage is something which we need to be very careful. We reject praises and compliments, which we discussed earlier. And second thing is not asking for help. Yene bandruno, yene adruno, we will resist asking for help. Why? We need to proceed in life, right? We need to develop ourselves. We need to grow ourselves. We need to look at opportunities. What is the harm in taking help? It's okay. Nobody will feel offended, or nobody will think anything different, because what ultimately people see is what results you have achieved. Okay. So you should not bother about what people think. Ask for help. Genuine people will help you and you'll get going instead of just stopping wherever you are. Are ತುಂಬಾ important. Pushing people away when they start to get close. Many people I have seen, if somebody is facing difficulties, there will be lot of people trying to help them, because of their fear of their self prestige or whatever be the reasons. They'll start actually pushing them away. They will not allow them at all to get closest to them and start taking their suggestions or whatever. Opposite of that is opening up and attaching to others prematurely. What we do is we'll go about talking about all the problems that we have had to people who, before even understanding them. How do you know that those people are genuine? How do you know that those people are the ones who are going to help you? They may be talking about you to somebody else. You need to study people. In my self-awareness session, I just talk about how dealing with others, understanding others while understanding ourselves is also important. Why? Because our networking should be with positive people. Okay. And refusing to do something unless you can do it perfectly. This is something where most of us fall into the pit. We will think we'll set an idealistic goal. That perfection definition nobody can define. Okay. But for us, some perfection is some idealistic goal which we have. Until we achieve that, we will not do, or we will not give up, or whatever. That will never happen, because you don't know whether it is realistic or not. That's the reason why I need to take help and see if evaluation of those goals are realistic at all before you do certain things. And you don't have to be perfect all the time. You can always revisit, improve. It can be a cyclic thing. You can improve yourself, move ahead to the next one, improve the previous one. That's when you will start growing, and that becomes a motivating energy for you to do more things. Then procrastinating on important projects. Most of the time we will stay in comfort zone. We will start giving excuses why we cannot do certain things, more than giving reasons why we should do certain things. Putting everyone else's needs before our own. For us, we are the last priority. Let that video which one of you sent, that describes that, right? It is I am the last priority. Even though I am feeling very sleepy, I want to do all the chores of the house before I go to bed. That is the condition, that is the limitation, and that is the block that I have set to myself. What will happen if I don't do tomorrow's breakfast cutting vegetables today? I'll get up little early and do. No. Why can't we prioritize things? Why can't we just take rest when it's required? And then constantly criticizing yourself. Keep doing self-talk, saying this is not sufficient, this didn't happen properly, this didn't go well. Why don't we start looking at things which went well? Then we will analyze what didn't go well and then do corrections. And isolating when you are hurting. So when we feel hurt, we will just exclude ourselves from the network, don't talk to anyone, and then just keep quiet. Where is the growth? Where is the new learning if we are on our own? Some people talk as if like being on their own is a great thing. No, it is not. because being alone for some time is okay, but not all the time. And then most of the time we will be doing craving for acceptance. Why do we do that? Only when you don't know yourself, the opinion of other people become important for us. We can't please anybody and everybody. We have to do something meaningful. Automatically people will start expecting based on the results. I am my own best friend. Why? Because I'm building relation with myself. I am there with myself 24/7, 365 days. Let me make best use of time and let me do the best. Okay, without regrets. Regrets will happen only when you have missed opportunities. Then feeling of guilt. I am not up to the expectation. Okay. With that, we mess up all our relationship and our emotions also. Communication. Okay, MIL and DIL are mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Example. Most of the time, we do not communicate properly in case of mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. I'll just pick one example. Okay, there are plenty of examples where we can look at communication as a mode, creativity is another one, and lateral thinking could be the third aspect where we want to deal with sticky situations where relationships are very fragile or getting hurtful. Basically, one example is mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. When the mother-in-law establishes herself in the house and says all crows are white, okay, all that a daughter-in-law needs to do is accept immediately, saying, yeah, all crows are white. Okay, moving forward, you just point out, see, there is one black crow there sitting on the wire, on the compound. And then 5 minutes later, you can see one more crow, one more black crow. Then third one, fourth one, build data, build statistics, and then say, can you just show me one white crow? I'm yet to see one white crow here. Okay, over a period of time, you're actually diluting that statement, which has no value, instead of having ego clashes. Most important is whenever you are in tough situations, it's important that you hold your self-esteem. And last thing which you need to remember is, in a very abusive relationship, no matter how much nice you want to be to that abusive person, there will be more expectation because that becomes the comfort zone for them. So just don't get into that can do better syndrome with people who are abusive, who are always expecting from you. This is very important. You need to know when to draw a boundary, how to draw a boundary and cut off instead of going beyond what is expected of you. Now, there are a couple of things which you need, which are very important, and they are like the psychologist Bandura's theory of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is how well you want to see yourself executing your abilities and tasks. Okay. One is mastery of experiences. Things that you have, this is very important. You can apply to anything wherever you have found the self-confidence low. Wherever you have found your low confidence, you think of the past where you have succeeded. Anything, it need not be related to that. The moment you think of some successful thing which you have done in the past, which have earned you fame, name, etc., or you yourself feel satisfied, you keep that in your mind. You will remember how much energy you'll draw from doing other things which require improvement in self-confidence. Success begets success. That's what it means. Believe in your hard work effort. Don't discount that. Okay, provided you have kept the goals reasonably well high. Next, believe that you are responsible for it. You are saying, you are not putting success for fate or luck or whatever. You say, I have earned it, I have been responsible, I have focused, I have done work. Okay. Next thing is vicarious experience. What does vicarious experiences mean? Seeing people similar to you who succeed. Basically, you cannot be there in every place. You cannot put your hands in every place. But a similar person who has succeeded in a particular way on a particular thing, you can always imagine that you can be successful. That is very important. That is called vicarious learning. And all these learnings are very fast. You can pick it up immediately, provided you put these strategies in place. Next thing is social persuasion. You want to hear from others how capable you are. Our Hanuman example, which I explained in the beginning, that is social persuasion. Make other people motivate you. You will do wonders. Lastly, emotional status. Stay positive, managing your stress. Okay. Now, this SWOT analysis is something which you need to do. I think Vaijayanti explained in your last session, so I'm going to skip this. Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats is something which each one of us have to lie down and work. Bouncing back is resilience, which is important. Okay, you have to take a hit and bounce back. That has to do a lot more for your self-worth. Believe if life largely is controlled by you or by the forces outside yourself. Think for a while. For anywhere you have stuck, you just think, is it under my control or is it outside of my control? Then you start working on that. Instead of feeling lost and depressed, you always have to think of solutions to recover. And positive affirmation all the time. Tell your conscious mind that you can do it. Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission, which is very true. Okay, now coming to the story of a crackpot. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. I'll go through the story quickly. Is it okay if I continue for another 10 more minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There was a ಪಾಟ್ ಬೇರರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರು ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರ ಮನೆಗೆ ನೀರು ತುಂಬಿಸಿ ಹಾಕೋರು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಪೈಪ್ ಲೈನ್ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಿಸಿ ಹಾಕೋರು. ಸೊ ಪಾಟ್ ಬೇರರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ 2 pots. Okay, he would fetch pot from the river and put it into the house of the rich man. Okay, one pot had a crack while the other pot was perfect. It would deliver full portion of the water. ಅದೇನಾಗೋದು, ದಿನ this pot bearer used to carry water from in both the pots, take it from the riverside, climb up the hill, put it into the rich man's water tank. All along, it was only fetching 1.5 capacity only to the tank. All the time, this perfect pot used to mock at the broken pot, saying, you are broken, you are doing your half job, whereas I am doing full job, you are worthless, blah, blah, all those things. It was complaining. This broken pot was tolerant. It tolerated for a long time, but it could not bear to see this potman doing extra work. So once it said, okay, now I have given you so much of trouble for so long. You have been able to do so much of hard work, but I've been able to do only half my capacity, it says. Okay, so then the pot bearer says to the broken pot, he says, while going down from this rich man's house, you just see to your left side while going down. That is where I carry, right? I carry you on my right. So while going down, you see the left side of the road, and then you will talk about it. What does he see? On the left side of the road, there is whole lot of flowers, blooming flowers, and well cultivated path on the left side. So the pot bearer tells the broken pot, see, I knew you were broken. For that reason, I had planted a lot of flowering seeds on that side. And whenever I carried you in my right hand, I made sure that all these seeds are watered by your broken pot. And from there onwards, I've grown flowers and I make and pluck these flowers and make a bouquet on the rich man's table. Aren't we like this? We are born unique. Each one of us has unique characteristics. We think we are cracked, but you don't know in the world's way or in the God's way. We don't know what we are, how we are influencing others, how indirectly or directly. We are not aware of that. So let us be sure and let us be confident that we are contributing to the world. And maybe I can take up this confidence in children later because of time's limit. I'll summarize on the 10 tips of building self-confidence. First and foremost is admit the problem and think positively about yourself. Most important. Set goal, okay, and make a list of things. And whenever you fumble or mumble or hit a roadblock, just call it as this too shall pass. Okay. Second thing you have to do is you have to find support. Find someone to whom you can safely talk. In most of our organizations, we have some survey questionnaires. In those questionnaires, we have one question: is there a best friend at work? That is so effective, to measure the employee health. That statement, if we get no, then we will get into the analysis of that as to why that person doesn't have a best friend. It's very important to have network. It's very important to surround yourself with nurturing friends, and at the same time you should also be able to offer them support. That is the gratitude that you need to express the way you have received from the world. Giving back. This is called micro affirmations. Next thing is establish realistic, reachable goals. So realistic goals, we have seen how you can get it reviewed. Recognize your success. List them all down. At the end of the day, list all the successes that you have achieved throughout the day and in the past. That gives you a booster. That gives you a lot of strength to achieve more. Okay. And it's very important to take a break. Regularly exercise, shut off all your devices, have nice meal, keep some time for yourself, treat yourself or help someone. Take a break from your routine. Beware of the triple low. Triple low is when you have many things. In this example, I've taken 3. If you are a researcher, your experimental results you have not achieved, or you have had bad day at work, and at home in the morning you and your partner would have fought, and then it might be your first day of period with lot of stomach ache and things like that, and you have watched that 5 kgs have come back irrespective of your diet and exercises. During those days, give it a break. Don't take big decisions. Don't react. Don't quit. Give it a break. Give yourself 48 hours and then resume back. Exhibit self-confidence. You should be seen bodily. You should speak slowly. You should speak clearly. Stand tall, proud, accept greetings, compliments, and most important is be extra prepared, whether it is exam, presentation, or report analysis, or anything that gets reviewed. You always prepare more than what is required. Okay, like in some of my sessions, if I present the same thing in a different session, I would have added 3 more slides. I would have changed a lot of things because I would have learned what should be there, what should not be there based on the audience. Okay, like that, keep yourself updated, keep yourself always little extra more than what is required. Take a risk a day. Make sure you take 1 risk a day. Challenge yourself. That keeps you motivated. Make it a habit. And then don't leave your principles. Whatever your principles are, whether it's integrity, honesty, please keep them in place. Don't compromise. If you don't have something you believe in, you don't have anything. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Please remember that. Last story I want to quote is about a parrot, poison parrot. Let's assume you are given a parrot. Parrot doesn't have any knowledge, wisdom, or insight. Okay. Now you train the parrot is now trained. How continuously it's trained, which is very unhelpful to you. What happens if you are stuck in a traffic jam? The parrot keeps saying, oh, today also you are late. Yesterday also you were late. You have been late for last 1 month. You have always been late. You are so stupid. You cannot get up early. You can't get ready. What is your problem? Your boss will now scold you. All these, the parrot keeps repeating. Okay. Now, how long would you put up with this abuse? Okay, every day, if it goes on and on and on in your head, how long can you tolerate? What will you do? You throw a towel over the cage just to get rid of the parrot. Just notice, once you throw the towel on the cage, okay, I don't have to listen to this parrot anymore, kind of a thing. Put your attention on something else instead of listening to that parrot. Be persistent in your practice. Put the towel and don't focus on the parrot at all. Start doing things differently. Start doing other things. Eventually, the parrot will get tired of the towel and you not responding and you not noticing that. Okay, it might just give up its poison as antidote, or it may fly off to some other place. Remember this always, this poison parrot with the towel whenever you get negative thoughts in your mind. Okay. Thank you. If you have any questions,